Artichokes listeners. This is episode 315, The Dumb Older Brother. We are here with Darren Branch in his new apartment. And we are here with me in still Cleveland, still going. But the question is what does it do?
What it do?
Yeah.
It does a lot of things, Anthony.
A lot.
Of course, we're in the fucking peak of fight camp for Jessica I right now. So that's got my fucking blood pumping and shit. That's got my mind focused. I'm teaching a lot of kids classes right now too.
Nice.
Which is a huge, it's a huge juxtaposition, right?
Mm-hmm.
On one hand, I've got this woman who's getting ready to go in a battle for money, for honor, for all kinds of things, right? For another chance at the UFC gold. And then there's these little fucking ankle biters who are all so cute and impressionable, who are learning to do their first cartwheels and shit. That I'm teaching how not just to escape the mount, but the concept of what the mount is and why we would either A, want to be there on top, or B, never want to experience it from the bottom, you know?
Yep.
It's literally the full range of this job. And yesterday was the first time in maybe the whole time I've been to Vegas that I felt like I was really doing my job all day like I used to do it. I woke up in the morning, and shortly after I woke up and took care of my own personal things, which I only had about 2 hours of time to do, I spent the rest of the fucking day and into the late evening working on other people's jiu-jitsu for them.
Yeah.
And some of those people were 4 years old, and some of those people are trying to be world champions. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I hadn't experienced that in a long time. It was really great. Spending that much time on the mat in consecutive hours is so good for me, dog. It's so good for me. So I'm grateful and blessed that I could do that. Shout out to my homegirl Dylan for going out of town and giving me some fucking time on the mat with the children.
Nice.
And that continues today. I won't say exactly what we did in training today, but training today with Jess was a very good session, and it was very hard and excellent. And now I'm going to go after the podcast and teach another kids class and then an adult gi class, right? So this constant, this having to adjust the flow in a way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because all of those people have, I want to get better in common, but the frequency at which they operate, I got to dial that shit in for them and only them.
Right.
And that's the real skill of being a teacher and a coach, is to find that frequency and communicate as much as you can on that frequency before their frequency shifts, and then you got to find it again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm experiencing that on a smaller scale. I have one person that I'm only focused on in one particular avenue of their game, and that's defense and only defense. I don't care if you can submit people. I really don't. It's you're brand new. Who are you submitting and why?
But Anthony, that's what everybody wants to do.
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. What the truth of the matter is, what the selling point is that you are able to defend yourself, manipulate a larger person, and then get away from them. That is the honest truth. The idea of submitting somebody is really
Anthony, why are you out here telling the truth to people?
Yeah, that's just the honest truth. Everybody wants to be. It's you don't want to be submitted. I never thought about I could submit everybody when I first started jiu-jitsu. I honestly thought of jiu-jitsu as some dude tries to hold me and I'm just fucking liquid, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. I'm out and I'm just.
See, I'll be honest, man. I wanted to fuck people up from day one.
Really?
And then it started to shift. Yeah. I wanted to be a bad motherfucker. I wanted to be tough and good. I didn't want to survive. I wanted to beat the fuck out of people. And then it shifted. Once I realized I was just a teacher, in a sense, I was still competing. This is around purple belt, right? I was man, I want to get better at the teaching part. I started changing my focus. And so then I cared less about fucking people up myself. But anyone that's ever seen me on the side of a jiu-jitsu mat coaching, I'm an extraordinarily competitive person about how my students are doing on that mat. I will fight a referee over 2 points. in a kids match, motherfucker. like, like that's a joke. I wouldn't do that. But I am a very emotional guy on the edge of that mat, and but I'm not that emotional about my wins and losses.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm cornering you, I feel like I'm like living and dying by every score. And then once the match is over, I don't feel any of the weight of it anymore.
Right.
But during the match, that motherfucker is scoring on my mother. He's not just scoring on me and you. Like, he's scoring on my grandma.
I agree.
Like, he's a bitch motherfucker who I want to kill. But once it's over, I know he's a regular guy who likes jiu-jitsu just like I do. And, like, that means that we're closer to the same than, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like him more than I like the average guy I'll walk past at a mall.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I do. It's like you like that person, you deal with them. They're kind of.
But during that, like, 5, 6, 7, or 10 minutes, whatever the rule set dictates is the amount of time we're going to spend across from each other as adversaries, that whole time I'm thinking about killing your whole family. Like, I want all the bad things to happen to you. And then the second that it's over, I'm like, oh yeah, reality is you're a nice guy and so am I.
Right.
But, like, I'm fully invested. Like, I fantasize about murdering Jennifer Maya. Is that weird? Is that weird,
it's
baby?
Weird to say that on the internet, for sure. It's a weird thing. He doesn't actually. He's not thinking about doing it. He's just thinking about it to motivate himself.
Yes, it's a tool.
I get it.
It's a tool. Like, I literally imagine what I would do with the body after it. Like imagine it. Because, like, I don't know, man. It gets me in a good space to do what we have to do. You know?
Yeah.
And to ask for the things I'm going to ask for. Like, imagine, like, yelling, cut her. And meaning it. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be in a space to mean that.
I don't know.
I
don't know if you
and
have to.
I think gender matters when we say this. Like, I think it's a unique mindset and mind space to even be in where I'm like, I wish harm upon this woman. Like, I wish you, my friend, to do harm upon this woman in particular ways. Like, I want you to cut her above the eye, or like, let's try to break her nose. Like, like to have those thoughts, I want to have the darkest thoughts and then pull back from it. I don't want to be like, she's an athlete and a competitor who I respect, which is true, right? And now we have to go out there and do our job, which is hurt her. It's like, no, let's do a murder. And since we can't do a murder, let's do what we can do that's as close to it. Like, I need to go the other way.
You want to talk like you're a plastic surgeon that has an attitude problem. We're gonna have to break her nose to get behind here. We're gonna have to cut her above the eye, right here. Make sure we nip this right here, tuck it in real tight, squeeze a little bit, apply some pressure.
I'm just saying I do fantasize about that. Maybe I've written some things down. Anthony.
Yeah.
It's good to see your face, though.
It is good to see your face as well. Like you, I am obsessed with the jiu-jitsu, but in the different ways. Not, like I said, I'm all about the defense, so it's weird now. It's so weird looking at things and being like, oh, I need to start looking at more wrestling now, even though, like, because it's weird. The more when people say, like, hey, wrestling and jiu-jitsu, like, wrestling is jiu-jitsu without the legs involved. I'm like, actually, you're kind of right. It's like I didn't realize all the history and all the things that have been lost and forgotten to, like, time. Like, I didn't know that you could score from turtle back in the day.
What do you mean back in the day?
So, like, there was wasn't the IBJJF, didn't it, at one point, wasn't turtle a scoring position?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, because that's I think that's part of the reason why Eduardo Teles became a world champion one year, because he's like the turtle guard master. And there was
he can score from turtle, yes. Like, Eduardo Teles can score from turtle because he can create a situation where he has a guard for a brief moment, right?
Right.
And so if I use a leg, then I'm sweeping it. If I just rotate and get it to the top, I get an advantage. Just like you would get an advantage for having made me turtle anyway, which usually those scores would, like, null each other out. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I'm thinking maybe...
But Teles is a special player. He is either currently in Vegas or just left. So maybe I'll get to see him sometime soon.
Oh, really? Oh, you should definitely talk to that guy.
He's homies with the homie. He's friends with Hafi Domingos.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So I don't remember. I have to remember. So I don't remember where it came from, because I remember people were talking about this for a while. But but you do like for one point there was a time where you could score from turtle, like you got points for turtle, and then that eventually became a null thing where you just got you got an advantage against you because of that. And just thinking about all like and like how people say like the turtle's bad, I'm like, bro, go watch some wrestling tapes. Like I didn't.
But the turtle is not bad in a lot of senses. It's bad in one major sense. So the turtle is the position for those who are not initiated in jiu-jitsu. I'm just going to use this couch right quick and do a visual aid. So it's when I'm like kind of in a ball here, right? And like usually people have their elbows inside their knees. They could be outside for the record. Who the fuck knows what people are going to end up doing these days? But they're just trying to protect themselves from being hooked and having the back taken in a scoring manner, right? Mm-hmm. And it's very similar to what you would do if you were an elementary school student and there was a tornado. But we call it the turtle position. And it's a position that has a great deal of potential energy. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so because it has that much potential energy, it's a good position in some ways. But it's also very close to giving up the back, which makes it so it's easy for you to get choked. And that's the bad part, right? That's the downside of the turtle.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you can score from there.
See, I'm trying to find information because people are saying two different things. They're either saying that at one point it was scored as turtle was using turtle was you could score from that position, and now people are saying that you can't score. You can't do takedowns from your knees essentially. And so that's why I'm like, I need to read up on the rules some more, and look at it. But just like watching all the wrestling and just looking at matches, like I don't even know who these people are or remember what their names are. But I'm just like looking at matches and watching them. And I'm like, oh, this is kind of crazy. Like you could just like get up on people, and even in wrestling, people don't really can't really. There's like, what is it, like riders, and what's the other things? They're like when there's like when they're in that referee position. What are like the two spots you can like be in? Like what are like there's like two types of people. There's like people who just stand up, and there's people who do like some funky stuff to get out and score points, right?
Yeah. I mean, all right, so when I was a wrestler, and it's not quite turtle that you start in, right? But if there's already been a takedown, or if there's like a new period, you'll get to choose the positions, and if they choose a grounded position, whether they choose top or bottom, as long as they don't choose neutral, someone has to get into referee's position, which is kind of like turtle but more expanded, right? So you're up on your arms with like straighter, more posted arms and not collapsed, right? And from there, you can try to stand and escape and get 1 point. Or you could create a reversal of some kind and get 2 or more, depending on if you expose this person's back on the way. Right? And if you held them to their back while you finish your reversal, you might get more points. But I always sought the reversal. I always tried to hit a move called a switch, which I still use today in jiu-jitsu. I hit a switch yesterday.
Oh, nice. Nice.
So yeah, I fuck with the switch. I fuck with the switch, yeah?
Yeah.
But that's not a surprise to anyone. You get that? It's almost the end of June. We got to keep throwing out all these Darren's not straight rumors. Are they rumors? I guess that depends on your definition of shit.
Pride
right?
Month's almost over. It's like Wednesday.
Who knows? I'll tell you this.
What?
If you DM me and you're like talking some crazy shit, all I'm just gonna do is like be like, yo, hit my OnlyFans. You're not gonna close any deals these days.
Nope.
Let's just say that.
Nope.
Speaking of motherfuckers closing deals, Anthony, have you seen Andres' Instagram yet?
I have just now, and I will show it to the audience in a second. Yes.
The amount of text I'm getting right now is hilarious. And it's all very simple, and I'm going to be able to fill it out in a minute. But I think they need it in a more timely fashion, and they're going to be mad at me for like 10 more minutes while we're still podcasting, but I think it'll be okay.
We can cut it.
We
can cut it in 5.
No.
They're
gonna have to wait their 10 minutes.
Okay.
Look at this handsome Latvian motherfucker. Can the audience see this, Anthony?
Everybody can see it. Your mother can see it.
Jesus H Christ! Not only is that a beautiful white man right there,
Latveria from Latveria. That great.
You know, which is the whitest place you could be, Latvia.
Yeah,
the whitest place you could be. But Andres also is wearing this gray gi that is absolutely fire. And I think it's fire in a way that's not even negotiable. This motherfucker looks like it's armor. I love it. And I might have to cop one myself. And I'm not even saying that just because it's the homie. I'm saying it because I feel like this gi color thing has gone on for a long time in jiu-jitsu. And when I was a white belt, it was first like pointed out to me. Let me see your face, Anthony.
Oh, can I see my face? Oh.
It was first pointed out to me by my homeboy, and he was like, "Yeah, my fucking brother bought me a black gi. I would never wear it." Blah 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 blah. And I was like, "Yeah, I would never wear it either." But I didn't even have an opinion.
You didn't have an opinion about it?
You see what I'm saying? I'm just telling you the truth. At this point, I didn't really have an opinion. I'd only really been exposed to white gis. And so that was what I thought jiu-jitsu was. And then I started watching tournaments, and I saw there were blue gis, and that people were covering their gis in patches and sponsors and shit. And I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. I kind of want to be a NASCAR-looking motherfucker. You know, I kind of want to have patches all over my shit. Right. But they had patches from people that looked like sponsors. Who knows if they were really sponsoring them?
Yeah.
It could just be brands they liked that they shoved in their gi. But it gave the appearance that you were a somebody, that like somebody was fucking with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I wanted that to be me, right? But then it was still just white and blue, white and blue. And then we had this whole era where I was a part of a team that decided you could only wear white gis. And then they were like, you can wear a blue one too. But it was just white and blue. But it was intended to only be white. That was their first intention, for sure.
Right.
And at the time, because I was so ride or die for my homeboy, not so much the whole team, not the worldwide team, but I just wanted to make sure that me and my friend were on the same page with everything, that I was down to do it. I was like, yeah, white gis only, white and blue, fucking only, whatever my homeboy says. Whatever he's rocking with, I'm rocking with. That's who I'm with. That's how I was doing it. So I really gave away the ability to think for myself on gi color. I just like threw that away, like, because in a way it didn't mean anything to me, and it meant something of high value to someone who was high value to me, right? So like if I fuck with you the long way and you don't fuck with them, then I don't fuck with them neither. You know what I'm saying? If you're like, nah, dude, we're Crips and those are Bloods. All right, those are Bloods. Like it was that simple to me. I didn't ask why we don't like the Bloods. I didn't think to ask. It doesn't fucking matter.
They're Bloods.
It doesn't matter. I'm not here to change the culture.
Yeah.
Not on purpose, at least. And so I just went with it. And then I got my first black gi. And I was like,
the darkness came over him.
The dark side calls to me. And I started wearing it almost as a protest. And like, I kind of saw it as like, it was when I got kicked off of the team. And I was like, I'm going to wear this black gi. And I wasn't mourning then. I was just making it very clear that I wasn't a part of what the fuck they were doing.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to wear a black gi and wrestling shoes. I'm not doing what y'all are doing. Y'all are doing something over here. I'm doing something over there. That's just my personality, though.
Yeah, it is. You're very much counterculture.
Like if everybody goes left, I'm going right, and I'm going to tell you that you're a fucking pussy for going left. Like, I don't know why I'm like that. I don't even like it all the time.
It's not fun, because sometimes you have to jump off that bridge even though you don't really want to.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. It's just like, I have to naysay it. I'm like, nah, fuck that. Let's go the other way.
Yeah. Sometimes...
Well, that's clearly the wrong way. Yeah, I know.
It's sometimes funny. It's sometimes funny to watch you put yourself in that situation.
I'm such a piece of shit. But with this gi color thing, I was a piece of shit when I wasn't thinking for myself and just looking at the gis themselves. And this company, not this company, but this culture doesn't do itself any favors because there's so many fucking weirdos and marks for other shit that they make gis that look like other things that are stupid. Like I'm never going to support your fucking Dragon Ball Z or Ninja Turtle gi. I'm never going to support your Power Ranger gi. And I hope that you don't support my rash guard with the WWE title in it. Because that's my stupid subculture addiction coming into my jiu-jitsu, right? Like, it would be best if we all left our dumb shit at home. But it would also be kind of cool if we had other colors to wear. And that gray is fire as fuck.
Gray is super cool. I have no...
But you couldn't... Look, dude, it wasn't just, like, teams like mine. I mean, like, International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation still has a lot of regulations on what you can wear and what you can't. They didn't used to allow black gis, even though they were relatively commonly worn.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't allowed to compete with that thing on
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm not. This is like I always like. It was always weird. Like I understood that was a rule, and like I never looked at a gi as like, man, I like that color. I really want it. Like I would like, man, like that gi is this price and it's this brand. I want that gi because it's cheaper or because it's like it's a good brand that I like.
I'm a price-based guy with a little bit of brand balancing.
Right.
So until I make my own shit, the brands that I like that are familiar to everyone else that I would say like go get these, and like these are not brands that pay me. These are not brands that fuck with me, right? This isn't an infomercial.
Right.
The brands that I would on without a site just be like, here's my size, get me one of these gis. I would get a Mizuno Judo gi, a single weave Mizuno Judo gi, and I would get the fucking Fuji all around gi.
Yeah.
And be straight.
Yeah.
Those are the best gis ever, and they're the best gis ever because they're of high quality and low fucking cost. That's it. There's better gis, there's way worse gis, but most of the better gis are super super expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And who gives a fuck about the worst gis?
Worst gis, you're gonna have ripped knees.
The worst gis can suck my dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's cool that like people have come around on the color of the gi. But here's the best part about that. And not the best part, but the part that sucks the most to me. There's all the popular shit. All the people who are super popular in the game right now are no-gi players.
Mm-hmm.
And the most popular thing to say by those no-gi players is that the gi is dead.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think they say this?
It's honestly, I don't know. I really don't know why you say this. Why I honestly think there might be. I have really no idea. I can't say. Only thing I could say closest thing is that it's a little bit easier to understand. But even then, you have a lot of complicated positions and a lot of complicated switch situations inside of no gi that either just you don't know. Or there's a goofy Japanese name for it. Sorry, the Japanese, but it's goofy as fuck sometimes. And then also like, yeah, you just don't know it. So I really don't know. Because like all the other rules of why I would think it makes sense, why you would say it, like it's boring. It's like there's a lot of boring matches in no gi. It's complicated. There's a lot of complications in no gi. The only thing that's interesting is the only thing that makes it money is Gordon Ryan. That's the only reason why that's making money. That's the reason why the money's the future. As long as Gordon Ryan's attached to the sport, that's the reason why it'll make money. Otherwise, I don't think it'll make money.
All right, so I think first you said I don't really know. Then you started just thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, it's money.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the no-gi game has money, and the gi game really doesn't. Now, the question of why that is, I don't think the question is answered by saying it's Gordon, because I think you got to look at the root of it. And like I think the first time that real money came into jiu-jitsu, it happened to come into the no-gi game because of the fucking Sheik. Right? So, like, if you got cajillions of dollars, enough that you can build a $10 million facility, and it was $10 million back in the day a bit. So who knows what the fuck it would cost right now.
Right.
If you can build a $10 million facility for your hobby, right? Imagine if I was like, Anthony, I like wrestling, right? So I'm building a fucking performance center just like the PI for my pro wrestling addiction. And you can just come hang out. We can run ropes and shit. Or we can do some jiu-jitsu. I've got mats too. It's a pretty great facility,
It is.
Like if I could afford to do that, and then I poured money into one version of the game, like no-gi, here's my point. No-gi was the spot that the money came to first.
Okay.
If a billionaire motherfucker got obsessed with gi jiu-jitsu and started putting on professional gi matches,
But I will say this.
then you would see money pouring into the gi too.
The Spider tournament's pretty fucking big, though.
That gi tournament?
That gi tournament.
Isn't that in Korea?
That's in Korea, though. It's still big. It's still big, though. Still big. Still one of the biggest prize
I'm not
pools.
saying it's not big. What I'm saying is, yeah, I think so. No gi had a head start with the money. Is all I'm saying.
I don't know.
No gi
It's not.
had a head start with the money.
You had an event ahead of the gi, but you didn't have a head start. It's not like it was a continuous flow, was it?
I mean, Abu Dhabi continues to exist.
It continues to exist, but it's just like, but it's not because of those. Like, is it because of those billionaire chic guys?
I mean, isn't the dude that runs it named like Mojazim or some shit?
It doesn't mean anything to me. It's because they just got the guy on.
I'm racist.
They got the guy on speed dial. The guy's also probably super American.
Look, just because Seth Daniels is booking some shit doesn't mean that it's not being run by the fucking Saudis somewhere. Like,
But my thing is this: is like, but that wasn't the money though. Because if that was the money is the people, right? So I'm telling you, it has to be Gordon. It's not the money. The money doesn't come from the Saudi guys because they're not the ones who are generating the interest. Because then so they can have repeat events.
see, no, I'm saying that's the seed. I'm saying the seed for no-gi taking off is that they offered a truly professional option before gi.
I get that. I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, fine.
So I'm saying since the money came to no-gi first,
People.
of course other things stacked up and other like rival promotions started to offer rival rule sets and rival amounts of money for prizes and shit, and like frequency, because Abu Dhabi's only every 2 years. It's like, well, I'll do something every 3 months.
Right.
And yeah, it won't be X amount, but it's $10,000 4 times in a month. I mean, 4 times in a year, right? Like you could like justify it in a lot of different ways. I'm just saying, no-gi became professional first.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, oh, it's super popular. And if some billionaire character shows up and is like, yo, I'm giving out $1 million to the best gi player in the world, a lot of motherfuckers who threw their gis on the ground are going to pick those motherfuckers up. So all I'm saying is if you're a youngin' and you're starting to train and you think, I want to be a professional, well, everybody's doing no-gi. Keep your fucking gi on too. There's a lot of hours in the day, train them both. Because you don't know when that next weirdo is going to influx a bunch of cash into the fucking game. And you don't want to end up having to do homework at the last second. Like you're cramming for a test. Like, oh, fuck. I got to get good at gi in 3 weeks because there's $1 million on the line.
I mean,
just train gi on the way up.
I mean, you could just be like, what's his face? Mikey Mucinex. He probably could do that. That's what he does. He just crams. He's just a crammer. He's like, all right, I'm going to spend 10 hours a day till my next tournament. So, and then I'm going to get like the hardest leg lock entanglement to get and then submit this person. I mean, not the hardest, but the most dominant.
Bro,
and then just handle
he's
that
terrifying.
person. Yeah. It's like, oh, super cool. You're behind me. I have your leg. You can't do anything. All you can do is try to kick my butt, and I will just literally break your leg in half.
Madness. Absolute madness. Anthony?
You got to go.
Fuck, I do, man.
All right, well.
This conversation was just starting to get sexy, Anthony. It was just starting to get sexy.
Well, you leave so I can close it out because you're already breaking your own promises. So goodbye, Internet.
Me?
Yeah, 7:45 in the car.
Fair play. Goodbye, Internet.